Hot off the presses, we've got updated stats from Empower on the average net worth by age group. And it's time to see how you stack up. That's right, today we're going to look through the numbers and you'll find out where your net worth should be compared to everyone else. Because for some reason, we're obsessed with comparisons in today's culture, aren't we?
He has a point.
And by the way, if you're wondering, this net worth situation, what does that mean? It's simply a measure of what you own minus what you owe. It's the value of your assets, things like your home and retirement accounts, minus your liabilities like debt and your children. Kidding. Kind of. Plus, I'll be grading every age group according to the Kamel financial scoring system, also known as the KFSS. TM. The scoring system is simple. If you get an A, it means you're above average according to the stats. If you get a B, you are average. And if you get a C, you're below average. And don't get too excited if you're sitting right at average, because being average just means being normal, and normal in America sucks. You should be aiming a whole lot higher than that. All right, let's start with the average net worth for folks in their 20s, which comes out to 113 grand. And honestly, that's not too bad. It gets a B. And here's the caveat. Averages include the crazy low numbers and the crazy high numbers, which can skew the results. So the median is a much more reliable number since it's simply the number right in the middle of the data if it were listed from smallest to largest. That means it doesn't get bloated by mega millionaires. You know, the TikTokers who eat a dozen raw eggs and grind out a few hundred deadlifts in the morning while you're still mouth breathing in deep REM.
You calling me out, Hefe?
So what is the median net worth for folks in their 20s? It goes way down to $7,600. So yeah, we're dropping that grade down to a C. You know you're in trouble when a new pair of Apple AirPods Max would put a serious dent in your net worth. Now, I get that our youthful friends in their 20s are just starting out in life. They're usually not making a ton of money, and a lot of them are trapped in student loan debt. But that shouldn't be an excuse for a crappy grade. It should be motivation to get to work. You've got your best years ahead of you for compound growth to do its thing. So Gen Z, listen to me, get out of debt and start investing ASAP. So where do I think your net worth should be as a 20-something? If we're aiming high, I'm going to say between $200,000 and $250,000. That would be an A in my book. And yes, my standards might be high, but it's only because I want what's best for you. This is a solid goal to shoot for as you enter into your 30s. And by the way, if you don't know what your exact net worth is, it's really easy to figure out. We created a free net worth calculator. I'll drop a link below if you want to go figure it out so that you can actually compare your numbers to the averages. All right, up next, we've got my friends in the 30s. My millennial folks, how we looking out there? Average net worth for the 30-year-olds, $317,000. That gets a B. But the median net worth is way lower at a little over $35,000, which is 1,000% a C, and that's being generous. You're not as broke as you used to be, but your 30s can still be tough. It's when a lot of folks start to have kids, they take on more responsibilities at work, and they realize that their dream of getting a book deal to write a YA vampire romance series may not have been that realistic. A lot of competition out there.
I gotta crush my dreams.
But we've got to do better, okay? $35,000 isn't even enough to buy matching Birkins for your family of four. Birkenstocks, sure. Birkins? No. You know how embarrassing that is? To not have the matching Birkins?
It's $4,000.
For a bag?
It's not a bag. It's a Birkin.
For real though, your 30s may be the best time of your life to prioritize saving, since you're probably making a lot more money than you were in your 20s, and you've still got a few decades to go before retirement. That means compound growth still has plenty of time to work its magic. So to get an A on the KFSS, someone in their 30s would need a net worth between $400,000 and $500,000. That's more than enough to keep you on pace for a warm and cozy retirement. Which brings us to the folks in their 40s. A time of life when you buy a motorcycle, maybe even buy a Mazda Miata if it's a real intense midlife crisis. You start taking skydiving lessons. You get a DM from an old high school friend recruiting you to become an independent consultant for Arbonne so you can start selling pear-flavored Energy Fizz Ginseng Fizz Sticks. No thanks, Susan. I'm not paying $2.75 per fizz stick. Why can't I just buy it at Costco? That's proprietary. That's not FDA approved. Get that out of here, Susan. So how are the numbers looking for my friends in their 40s? Well, the average net worth, around $791,000, which would be a B. And the median is closer to $125,000, which is definitely a C. And this number gets depressing when you remember that net worth doesn't just include what you have in your retirement accounts, it also includes equity in your home and your cars. Because the typical 40-year-old owns a home and at least one car, so it's more than slightly concerning that their median net worth only hits $125,000, which includes the equity in their home. That means they either have A, a lot of debt, B, almost nothing in retirement, C, almost no equity in their home, or more likely D, all of the above. Our Ramsey Millionaire study found that the average millionaire hits that status at 49 years old, which means you should be getting super close to a 7-figure net worth in your 40s. So to anyone in their 40s, you get an A if your net worth is between $900,000 and $1 million before you hit your 50th birthday. Now, before we move on to the fine folks in their 50s, let's talk about something that did not exist when those Gen Xers were born, which is cell phones. Specifically, I want to tell you about the best way to save money on your cell phone bill, and that's by switching to Tello, one of the sponsors of today's video. Their phone plans start at just $5 a month, and you can get an unlimited everything plan for just $25 a month. Plus, Tello's high-speed nationwide coverage comes with no fees, no contract, no commitment, and no having to deal with a salesperson who keeps talking you into an earpiece that makes him look like he's in the CIA. Don't like those. So go to Tello.com/George and you'll get an extra $5 off the unlimited data plan for your first month of service. Or click the link in the description below. And if you're sick of expensive phone bills, you're probably also sick of scam texts, robocalls, and spam emails. So if you want to deal with this in the right way, you can clean up your digital footprint and get your personal info off the web with Delete Me, a sponsor of today's video. Not only will Delete Me remove your personal info from hundreds of these data broker sites, but they'll also save you hours of hard work, which means more time for binging Hulu and doom scrolling Instagram. And they'll even send you an easy-to-read report letting you know exactly what they've done. And right now, you can jump in with a 1-year plan that comes up to just $9 a month. That's a 20% discount for anyone keeping score at home. So go to joindeleteme.com/George to get the deal. I'll also leave the link in the description below. Okay, let's see how our friends in their 50s are doing. Average net worth, $1.4 million, which again is a B since it's the average. Median net worth for those in their 50s, $288,000, which would be a C. Now here's what I will say. Once you turn 50, it does become socially acceptable to run into a friend in public and say, "Man, security must have been light at the door, huh?" But having a net worth of less than $300,000, it's not funny. It's not funny at all. Because when you get to that age where you watch TV standing 5 feet from the screen, remote in hand, your mortgage should be on its last leg, and your retirement nest egg should be growing very quickly. So to get an A in my book in your 50s, you'd need a net worth between $1.75 and $2 million before you hit your 60th birthday. And finally, let's check up on the 60s crowd. This is when most folks leave their cubicle for the last time, hang up their cleats, and head straight for retirement. So ideally, by this point, you have a paid-for house, a paid-for car, and at least $1 million in your retirement accounts. At least. And hopefully, you have enough money to rent a convertible and drive up the Pacific Coast Highway with the wind in your hair, or whatever's left of it.
Rude.
So do the numbers line up with those goals? Let's take a look. Average net worth for people in their 60s, $1.7 million. The median net worth, $439,000. We need to get serious for a second, because that median number is scary low.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, come on. Everyone knows that's worse.
You see, the typical couple will need over $400,000 in retirement just to cover medical expenses, which means a $439,000 total net worth doesn't leave nearly enough margin to pay for other crucial expenses like food, transportation, and housing. So if those numbers are sad, what does an A look like on the Kamel Financial Scoring System scale? Well, you'll need a net worth between $2.5 and $4 million in your 60s. Now, that number may seem unrealistic to some of you. Maybe to some of you, it feels like $4 million is not even going to be enough because the buying power of $1 by the time I'm... Hey, just relax. Just breathe. There we go.
Thanks. I needed that.
So let me prove to you that it is realistic, number one, to have $2.5 to $4 million by the time you're in your 60s using our investment calculator, which is totally free on our website. Anyone can go use it. Here we go. At age 25 to 65, let's say you start with $0 in retirement. How much will you contribute monthly? Let's say you do $500. Let's see where that gets us from 25 to 65. $500. That's reasonable. And let's say a 10% rate of return, which is the average for the S&P 500 over the last several decades. Calculating $3.1 million. Now, I think we can all agree, $6,000 a year for the rest of your life, it's not that much money. For the average salary, let's say, $60,000, you should be doing $750 a month if you make $60,000. And that's if you make $60,000 for your whole life, never make another dime, never get a raise. You would have $4.7 million from 25 to 65. Now, you're going, well, George, must be nice to be 25. I'm 35. Okay, let's see what that turns out to be. From 35 to 65, if you invest the same amount, you have $1.7 million. Not great, but hopefully we can do better on the investment side and we make more money over time to where we can invest $1,000 a month, right? Let's say you're making $80,000, you take 15% of that, about $1,000 a month going into there. Now we're talking $2.2 million. We're a lot closer, and that's with 30 years of consistent investing. And now let's go into our 40s and see how this number really starts to shrink because we lose the power of compound growth over time. We'd have $759,000. Do you see the power of investing early? And by the time we're 45, we're probably making more money. We might have to catch up on contributions. So what if we could invest $12.50 a month and work till we're 67 because we're behind? Now we're talking. We're at $1.2 million. So that's with 22 years of a working career left ahead of you, you can do this. And when you get to your 50s, it's going to become a whole lot harder. From 55 to 67, you'd have $345,000. Now, if we up our investment to, let's say, $17.50 a month, $483. Let's say we work till we're 70 because we got a late start, $0 in retirement by 55, which we can all agree is awful. It'd still leave you with $725,000. That's not nothing. Now, I don't know what the power of a dollar will be when I'm in my 60s, but I do know this. More money equals less problems in retirement. So aim high and invest for the future for the long term. Now, I've got good news for you. You have the power to change course and set yourself up for a great retirement, even if you're already climbing up in age. So it may be too late to get an A on the KFSS, but it's never too late to improve your situation and retire with dignity. But there's 3 things you need to do to start heading in the right direction. Number 1, you've got to get out of debt. Since net worth is what you own minus what you owe, a good place to start is getting yourself to the point where you don't owe anything. The liabilities column is vastly empty because you've paid off all of your debt, including your home eventually. Number 2, become a homeowner. 68% of millionaires own a paid-for home, and that's not too surprising. It's a large part of your net worth, and once you get in the door in the housing market, it really helps you build equity and lets you build wealth over time. Buying a home is a great way to build wealth because real estate almost always goes up in value, and paying off your mortgage forces you to save money each month as you build equity. It is not a waste. Plus, once you've paid off your mortgage, you will have removed your biggest monthly expense, your mortgage payment, and that'll save you a lot of stress in retirement and also free up a whole bunch of money to now invest more. Now, I'm not saying drop everything and go buy a home right this second. You need to make sure you're financially prepared, which means you're debt-free with an emergency fund and you have a solid down payment. Now, last but not least, what you need to do, start investing as soon as possible. Once you have that foundation of debt freedom and the emergency fund, begin investing 15% of your income each month into retirement accounts that are tax advantaged. At the end of the day, net worth is not your self-worth, so don't feel too bad if you didn't get the grade you wanted. Net worth is just math, and thankfully, life is more than math, and you can live a great life regardless of the net worth you build. But it is a healthy scoreboard for how wealth building is going for you, much better than a stupid credit score. And you're always in the driver's seat when it comes to your money. But keep in mind, your investments won't add up to much if you don't know where to put your money. And that's why I made this video going over the best investment accounts for 2025. So keep watching or click the link in the description to go check it out. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It means a lot. Hey, that's it for this video. We'll see you next time.